Right now it's 6. Standoffs outside Coast Guard Island. As President Trump scraps his plans for an immigration surge operation in San Francisco.
The president told me clearly that he was calling off any plans.
The phone calls with Mayor Lurie and some tech billionaires that prompted the about face. And we're following protesters on the move again at this hour. Plus, the final push for and against Prop 50.
We have 2 more weeks to defend our democracy.
I need you to get active and vocal in the next 2 weeks.
We'll check in as both sides make their last pitches to voters. And later, the plans to turn South Lake Tahoe into a sanctuary city for bears.
It puts it in the forefront of people's minds about, hey, this is an important aspect of South Lake Tahoe.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. It is a turnaround almost no one would have expected. President Trump calling off a planned immigration surge operation in the Bay Area less than 24 hours after we learned federal agents were headed our way. And all it took was a few phone calls. But that has not stopped demonstrators across the Bay Area from hitting the streets to tell the president to keep federal troops away from the Bay Area. So here is a live look from our chopper. Within the past half hour or so, a crowd of more than 100 marchers arrived from Fruitvale Plaza to Oakland to the U.S. Coast Guard station in Alameda, where some Border Patrol agents showed up this morning. So we've seen a number of skirmishes there throughout the day. Our Kenny Choi has been outside the base since this morning. He joins us live now with more. Kenny, what's it looking like there?
Yeah, Julia, good evening. There is a significant crowd here of protesters. It thinned out earlier, and then they have reconvened here at the spot in front of the Coast Guard base in Alameda. It has been a peaceful day for the most part, but there have been some clashes leading to some intense moments.
Shame! 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 Shame!
Tensions escalating as federal agents tried to move past protesters who pounded the hoods of at least 2 marked Customs and Border Protection vehicles, with several cars trailing behind.
And they stopped at the crowd and got out and said they were going to drive through us if we didn't move. They weren't going to stop once they started. And they started pushing through. They ran over one gentleman's foot. And another person got pushed off.
After the vehicles passed through, witnesses say federal agents in tactical gear set off 2 flash grenades.
We have a medic.
Jorge Bautista, a pastor from Oakland, was injured. He spoke after, his face covered in powder and tearing up from what appeared to be pepper balls.
Because it is our responsibility to express love and be on the side of peace and to make sure that no families are being harassed and threatened with their lives.
Bautista says he came to protest as part of a group of interfaith leaders.
We're protesting peacefully. We're walking. We're staying within the law. They are the ones who are out of the law. They are the ones who are breaking the law.
Protesters saying they oppose the deployment of federal agents and National Guard troops into cities across the country and what they believe are inhumane and illegal deportations.
Throw your signs at me? That's not okay.
As the day went on, there were some more clashes among the crowd still gathered.
Are you okay, bro?
One man wearing a thin blue line hat got shoved to the ground by protesters, blood streaming from his face. This man, wearing a MAGA hat, also wanted to be heard.
If they have the right to come out here and walk around, so do I.
We are not here to be violent, but if we are being aggressed, what do you do?
In the afternoon, protesters remained. CHP moved in to clear the intersection to allow vehicles to pass through. We saw at least 2 people being taken into custody. All right, so once CHP did get that situation under control, we did see dozens of cars exiting the base. We also saw a caravan of SUVs, unmarked SUVs, leaving Alameda. Now, a lot of the protesters here certainly do understand that the president has called off federal agents coming into San Francisco, but a lot of them also saying that they simply don't believe what the president is saying. A lot of these protesters saying that they want the feds out of the Bay. Juliet, that's the latest from here in Alameda.
Peaceful right now, though. Kenny Choi, thank you so much. All right, we are also keeping an eye on a rally in San Francisco, despite the president calling off the federal deployment to the city. A large crowd of people are gathering at Embarcadero Plaza right now. Speakers and performers taking to the stage, with many holding signs protesting the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. So our team coverage continues now with Brad Hamilton. He's live at San Francisco City Hall with more on the mayor's phone call with the president that really turned things around. Brad.
Juliet, the mayor said he had two big reasons as to how he was able to convince the president to call off this surge. The first being that the mayor is trying to clean up San Francisco and its streets, and the second being that agents won't help him accomplish that mission.
I told him the same thing that I have told our residents. San Francisco is on the rise.
As Border Patrol agents arrived at Coast Guard Island in Alameda on Thursday morning, San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie shared that in a conversation with President Trump last night, he convinced the commander-in-chief to halt a surge of federal agents.
In our conversation, the president told me clearly that he was calling off any plans for a federal surge in San Francisco. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem reaffirmed that direction in our conversation this morning.
Trump confirmed the news in a message on Truth Social. It read, quote, "I spoke with Mayor Lurie last night, and he asked, very nicely, that I give him a chance to see if he can turn it around. I told him I think he's making a mistake because we can do it much faster." Trump went on to say that great people like NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang and Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff and others have called, saying that the future of San Francisco is great. They want to give it a shot. Therefore, we will not surge in San Francisco on Saturday, end quote. Later, at a Homeland Security event Thursday afternoon, Trump elaborated on the phone calls with his friends in the Bay Area that helped change his mind.
They said, we're working really, really hard with the mayor. We're making progress. Would it be possible for you to hold off the surge? And I had 4 or 5 calls, and I think they're making progress of their own. That would be the greatest. I mean, if they could do that, that'd be great.
We appreciate that the president understands that we are the global hub for technology, and that when San Francisco is strong, our country is strong.
Another revelation from the mayor's press conference. The city plans to collaborate with the Trump administration on fighting fentanyl. Attorney General Pam Bondi addressed the partnership.
Mayor of San Francisco and I are going to be meeting on fentanyl in a few weeks and working hand in hand on that. Secretary Noem spoke to him.
Mayor Lurie says it was President Trump who called him last night. He wouldn't say much about the tech leaders that Trump mentioned in his post. When asked whether billionaires might have too much influence with the president, the mayor responded with a bit of a sidestep.
I always say this. We want to welcome small business and big business back to San Francisco. We want them to be engaged and involved in our public schools, our arts institutions, our transit. I want them engaged.
San Francisco appears to have avoided an incoming surge of federal agents, a city that 24 hours ago was a target of the president, now seemingly in partnership with the administration. But in the words used by the president himself on the matter, stay tuned.
Now, a question that's been on a lot of people's minds here is, what are they going to do with these agents that are already here? Well, an official with Homeland Security confirmed to CBS News that the plan of the operation here in the Bay Area has been scrapped and that these agents are going to be redirected. Juliet?
All right, Brad Hamilton. Brad, thank you so much. All right, even though we've learned the federal operation has been called off for the Bay Area, it wasn't immediately clear this morning whether the president's decision applied to other local cities. Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee said she has not been in communication with the White House. She had this to say this morning.
We know that Border Patrol agents are being stationed on Coast Guard Island. But let me be clear. Our city, as I said, we are fully prepared. We're monitoring developments closely and will keep our residents informed if there are any confirmed changes.
People in the South Bay are also protesting the president's immigration enforcement. Dozens started gathering at San Jose City Hall about an hour ago. We've seen labor leaders and elected officials join them in a show of support for immigrants in the community. Meantime, some San Francisco supervisors announced an additional $3.5 million for immigration aid today. So the money will go to legal defense, education, and the rapid response line. This is on top of the nearly $10.5 million of funding already available.
We also cannot afford to continue to be unprepared. As we see the massive escalation of ICE enforcement activities.
While the money is for San Francisco, supervisors say it is also available for Bay Area residents who don't live in the city. We will be following the protests across the Bay Area and the latest on the back and forth over immigration enforcement. For updates, just head to kpix.com or watch us on the CBS News app. Firefighters in San Jose have stopped forward progress on a 10-acre brush fire at Alum Rock Park. It started just before 2:30 this morning, and as you can see, look at that, it generated a lot of smoke in the area. No word on any injuries so far. CAL FIRE says crews from the air and on the ground are still at the scene. Also, authorities in Marin County have charged the young driver involved in a crash that killed 4 teenagers with manslaughter. This was the scene, as you can see there, in Woodacre back in April. CHP investigators say the teen and 5 passengers were on their way to a sleepover when the speeding car crashed into a redwood tree on San Geronimo Valley Road and then burst into flames. The driver, who we are not identifying because of their age, and 1 passenger survived. Still ahead, here at 6, from political big shots to fired up neighbors, we'll hear from people on both sides of the Prop 50 debate as we hit the home stretch of the campaign.
Prop 50 is a stepping stone towards justice.
I feel like we're still in it, and I'm going to do my part.
And then later, a sanctuary city for bears, how a new proposal in South Lake Tahoe hopes to protect the bears and penalize the negligence that lures them toward homes. Talk about an hours-long traffic headache in the East Bay. A driver hit a power pole on Ignacio Valley Road in Walnut Creek this morning near Heather Farm Park. It shut down traffic going westbound. So we'll give you a closer look at where the crash happened. It is right past John Muir Hospital. Traffic moving eastbound for evening commuters. Walnut Creek police saying no one was hurt in the crash, fortunately, but they still don't know when the westbound lanes will reopen. All right, we are less than 2 weeks away from Election Day, and voters are being asked one question. Should California temporarily redraw its congressional lines? So Prop 50 asks voters to approve this Democrat-backed map. There you go, targeting 5 Republican-held districts, mostly in Northern California and the Central Valley. And the measure is a direct response to the redistricting in Texas. Maps under Prop 50 would stay in place for the next 3 elections. And then over the next 11 days, the campaigns are kicking into overdrive. We had the governor rallying union workers in support of Prop 50, Republicans on an East Bay bus tour against the ballot measure. Our Kelsey Thord checked in on both sides.
With less than 2 weeks until Election Day, organizers on both sides of the Prop 50 battle are hitting the Bay Area hard, making their final pitches to voters.
It's about all 50 states. It's about our democracy. It's about our republic.
Governor Gavin Newsom ran into a crowd of hundreds at a Yes on 50 event in San Jose, trying to pump people up to get out the vote. He is calling Prop 50 a necessary step towards curbing President Trump's power.
Prop 50 is our reaction to this authoritarianism that's going on. These attacks, these assaults, this guy's wrecking this country. He's wrecked the economy.
Just up the bay in Fremont, State Assembly member Carl DeMaio from San Diego worked a crowd of No on 50 supporters, calling on them to canvass their local communities.
Even here in the Bay Area, where you feel as though maybe your opinion is different than the majority, it's not. It's actually consistent on a lot of issues. I need you to get active and vocal in the next 2 weeks because we have so much on the line.
Assemblyman DeMaio is currently on a 72-stop bus tour across the state to rally support against Prop 50. He says the measure would essentially rig elections for Democrats, hurting Californians more than Trump.
Now, they hate Trump, so they think, well, I hate Trump, so let me do something bad
to hurt Trump. You're not hurting Trump. You're hurting millions of Californians who will be silenced because they will be basically put into districts and shouted down.
CBS's latest polling shows 62% of likely voters plan to vote yes on Prop 50. Supporters are using that momentum to try and close this race out.
SEIU 2015 members have made over 400,000 phone calls across the state of California and have contributed over 40,000 hours because we know that Prop 50 is a stepping stone towards justice and restoring our democracy.
But those who oppose Prop 50 aren't giving up hope, saying they plan to mobilize their supporters until the last ballots are cast.
We're still in the game. We still have time. I'm going to do my best to make whatever happens. But I don't listen to that. Like if we were down like by 50, okay, that's a different story. But we're still in it. I feel like we're still in it, and I'm going to do my part.
So both sides are also leaning on big political names to boost their campaigns. Former President Barack Obama is backing Prop 50, while former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger appears in ads opposing it.
We warmed up a little bit more today than we did yesterday, but it was still a coolish day across the Bay Area. Looking outside from Salesforce Tower, seeing the last of Thursday's daylight on the horizon. Everybody between 63 and 73 for high temperatures this afternoon. Similar territory tomorrow, and then we bring a rain chance into the forecast this weekend. Details coming up in First Alert Weather.
All right, let's get to our all-important weather. So, Paul, I know you're saying the rain is a-coming, so I thought of a brilliant plan.
Okay.
I'm going to head to Eugene, Oregon this weekend, maybe to get out of the rain or not.
That's no.
I think I'm in for a double whammy, right?
You are driving right into the path of that atmospheric river. It's going to be okay.
Football game. I'll just, bundle up.
Hey, then like water off a duck's back.
There you go. Very good.
Make sure you bring your poncho because
we're all in it.
Will definitely need that.
Okay.
So let's take a look at what's happening. Let's start with the bigger picture view here and look at the entire West Coast and take a look at the satellite replay over the past several hours. And we're seeing a little bit of that marine cloud cover, but there is the moisture up to our north associated with that atmospheric river that's going to be sending abundant rain and snow into western Washington and Oregon over the next couple of days. And some of that's going to make it into Northern California. And just a hint of it is going to make it into the Bay Area as we head through tomorrow night into Saturday. But that's a little farther down the line. It's not here yet. Right now, we are seeing clear skies overhead as we look outside. Let me see if I can turn on our little tracker here so the box pops up in the right spot. All the buttons, you have to make sure you press in the right order here. Let's take a look at what our conditions look like right now as we look out from Treasure Island towards downtown. That's a picture worth waiting for. Temperatures mostly in the 60s, but the warm spot still 70 in Concord. The cool spot already down to 59 degrees in San Francisco. We'll mostly end up in the 50s early tomorrow morning, but some upper 40s sprinkled in the North Bay valleys. And there's going to be some fog out there, which might slow you down if you're heading out for an early dog walk. But our adoptable dog, Shelby, and her adoptable ears as well, need to give those the credit they're due. Get to bask in plenty of sunshine tomorrow afternoon, with temperatures still running a few degrees below average, but close to where we're supposed to be in late October. I'll put up a link to how to adopt Shelby and her ears if you are interested as soon as this weathercast is over. Let's take a look at that fog on Futurecast and track it as we head through the rest of tonight. And it's going to be pretty widespread as we head into early tomorrow morning. It's going to be a little bit stubborn. The first couple hours of daylight likely blocked by that low cloud cover and fog, even inland. But gradually, once we get past about mid-morning, we are going to see that fog dissipating and temperatures will be, we'll call it mild, about 2 to 4 degrees below what's normal for this time of year, with highs reaching up into a mix of 60s and 70s. Mostly in the mid-70s in the Santa Clara Valley. Those will be some of the warm spots on the map. Temperatures east of the Oakland Hills, also low to mid-70s, tied for the warm spots. 60s for the most part around the Bay and at the coast, and the North Bay picking it up just barely to around 70 degrees by tomorrow afternoon, with a little bit more cloud cover already heading your way, with the rain chances heading your way as well. Here's a look at Futurecast tomorrow evening. Far north is where the rain is going to be hanging out for most of the evening, but after midnight, we'll see that rain beginning to make its way a little deeper into the North Bay, especially by about sunrise on Saturday morning. So kind of a damp start to the day on Saturday, but it's not going to be an all-day washout. That first round of rain moves off to the east by mid-morning. We'll see a few more hit or miss showers the rest of the day on Saturday, but they will be more miss than hit. Just kind of an unsettled day overall. But there's going to be another round of rain headed our way as we head into the second half of the weekend on Sunday. That looks like it's going to amount to maybe a few more hundredths of an inch of rain, but it's not going to be substantial. Really, the bulk of the Rain is going to be staying up to our north into Oregon and Washington. So we're going to be seeing just a few hit or miss showers, enough to mess with your outdoor plans as we head into this last weekend of October already. And here's that rain headed our way as we go into Sunday. This forecast model makes it look pretty impressive. There are others that kind of dry it out a little bit more. So we'll keep you updated on that. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, and we'll start inland. We're just phrasing it as showers for the weekend. Temperatures will be cooler, and then we warm up next week, back up to the upper 70s and low 80s inland by Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So a cool, kind of damp weekend, but not a washout. Just be flexible with outdoor plans. And then more of a warm up as we head to the last days of October next week. Jules?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, thanks so much, Paul. When we come back, could South Lake Tahoe become a sanctuary city for bears? We'll hear from a resident pushing this proposal. We are keeping an eye on the protest happening right now outside the Coast Guard base in Alameda. Dozens of people who marched from Oakland are rallying this evening after a day of protests that at times turned tense. Earlier today, demonstrators tried to block several federal agents as they arrived at Coast Guard Island. This morning, President Trump called off a planned surge operation in the Bay Area. Over the past few months, surprise bear visits have become part of a daily life for residents in South Lake Tahoe. And now it's actually sparked a push to ensure those bears are also part of the city's future. Some residents are asking the city council to designate South Lake Tahoe as a sanctuary city for bears. The proposal would protect bears from lethal management, commit to educating the public, and hold residents responsible when they don't secure their trash or food. We heard from Eric, who first brought the idea to the city council this week.
We could create a situation where the bears can misbehave here and there, maybe get some honey from the cabinet, and maybe we go ahead and punish the people that allowed them to get into the cabinets.
Ooh, the idea is still in the early stages. The city council has yet to take it up, but bear advocates hope this could lead the way toward coexistence between humans and wildlife. As they say, don't feed the bears. CBS Evening News is next on KPIX. Local news always streaming on CBS News Bay Area. We're back here with more news for you in 30 minutes at 7 o'clock. We'll see you then.